Hey guys, I'm back with the second part of the video where we learned about the preparation of aldehydes and ketones. So first of all, I would like to apologize because due to some technical error, I couldn't complete the video. Actually, the video stopped after 2 hours. So I was discussing about the mechanism from the beta keto acid. So from how beta keto acid we are getting a carbonyl compound. Okay. So I was telling that let us not consider this OH. Okay, suppose this is a CH3 molecule. Okay, so now this carbonyl oxygen is partially hydrogen bonded to this acidic hydrogen, acidic hydroxyl hydrogen. Okay, so they remain in this form only. So if we heat it, it readily decomposes to give us carbonyl compounds. So what it does is the carbonyl oxygen coordinates with the carboxylic hydroxyl hydrogen. Okay, takes up hydrogen, then this OH bond cleaves and the bonded pair is shared between this carbon and oxygen. Now this carbon becomes pentavalent. So to maintain its tetravalency, that is to remain stable, what it does it breaks the carbon, that is the carboxylic carbon and alpha carbon single bond, and the bonded pair electron shift to carbon, alpha carbon and beta carbon, and now the alpha carbon beta carbon single bond becomes a double bond, and this carbonyl bond becomes a carbon hydroxy bond, that is single bond. So now what it does is this enol form tautomerizes to its corresponding carbonyl form, that is if this group is hydrogen we will get aldehyde, if it is alkyl or aryl then we will end up with ketone. Okay, so why this enol form readily tautomerizes to its carbonyl form, that is keto form or aldehydic form? Why it is so? It is simply because this carbonyl group is a very stable group and its bond enthalpy is very high compared to carbon oxygen single bond. If you see here that here it is carbon carbon double bond and carbon oxygen single bond, but here it is carbon oxygen double bond and carbon carbon single bond. If we take these two bonds together and measure the enthalpy of these two bonds, that is carbon double bond single bond, carbon double bond oxygen and carbon carbon single bond, then the sum of enthalpy will be very greater than carbon double bond carbon and carbon single bond oxygen. So this carbonyl form is very stable as compared to this enol form. So you can see here that equilibration always tends towards the carbonyl form. Okay, so now you know why enol always shifts to its carbonyl form, and from here you get to know that is how you can get carbonyl from beta keto acids. You just simply heat it, it will readily decompose to give a carbonyl compound and a carbon dioxide molecule. Okay, now we move on to the procedures from where we can get aldehydes only, not any ketone, only aldehydes. So first reaction is Rosenmund reduction. Okay, it is from acid chloride. So now we are focusing on acid chlorides. From acid chloride, how we can get our carbonyl compound, rather aldehydes. So first one is Rosenmund reduction. So acid chlorides are converted into aldehydes by catalytic hydrogenation. Okay, catalytic hydrogenation in the presence of palladium catalyst supported over barium sulfate. Okay, this catalyst, palladium catalyst, is very fine powdered and it is very costly catalyst. Okay, so for two reasons, main two reasons, supports are necessary. Means the catalyst would get adsorbed, 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 not absorbed. Okay, the palladium catalyst, fine metal catalyst, would get adsorbed over a surface. Okay, so that surface is here provided by barium sulfate. So barium sulfate is known as supporter. So it supports palladium catalyst. So why it is done? Okay, first of all, to increase the surface area of palladium catalyst. If you take palladium catalyst, okay, fine powdered palladium catalyst, then if you take a pinch, then many palladium molecules would be over one another. Okay, if we take the palladium catalyst over a surface, then there is a far better possibility that the palladium molecules may remain single. Okay, I mean to say that is, if the same pitch of palladium catalyst is put over a surface and spread it out, okay, then we get a large surface area per molecule. Actually what is done here over that, to increase the catalytic behavior, means to increase the surface area, always the catalytic behavior depends upon surface area of the molecule. Okay, if surface area is more, then the active sites are more. Okay, if in a catalyst the surface area is large, then per centimeters, sorry, not centimeter here, it should be I think angstrom or nanometer. Suppose nanometer, per nanometer square, the number of active sites we will get is will be large. Okay, so if we spread the catalyst over any surface, so we will have a very large surface area and it will increase the catalytic behavior of that catalyst. That is the first point. And second point is that palladium is a costly metal. Okay, so if we increase the surface area by spreading it over a supporter or any support, then it will increase the catalytic behavior. Also, we have to take a very small amount of palladium and it will reduce the cost also. So it is both cost effective also. So acid chlorides are converted by catalytic hydrogenation in presence of palladium over barium sulfate. So you can see that here ethanoyl chloride. Okay, now we are giving passing hydrogen gas over palladium barium sulfate. Okay, but here is a catch. The catalytic mixture is poisoned by the addition of small amount of sulfur or quinoline. Now what do you mean by poisoned here? Here the poison word refers to deactivate the catalyst. Okay, to deactivate, not catalyst, to rather to deactivate the catalytic mixture. Why is it done so? I'll tell you why. Because if there is an increase, is if the catalytic behavior of palladium is highly increased, then what it does is it will reduce this ethanol further to alcohol, and we don't want that. So what we will do is we'll poison the catalytic mixture by adding small amount of sulfur or quinoline. So we can stop the reduction at aldehydic stage. Similarly, you can see here that benzoyl chloride passing hydrogen gas in presence of palladium catalyst supported over barium sulfate and poisoned by quinoline. So we are getting benzaldehyde. If we had not given quinoline, then benzaldehyde would further reduce to benzyl alcohol. This benzyl alcohol. Okay. So now you see that formaldehyde cannot be prepared by this method as its corresponding acid chloride, that is formal chloride, is unstable at room temperature. Means this one is formal chloride. Okay, this formal chloride is very unstable at room temperature, so we cannot get formaldehyde through this Rosenmund reduction. And here you see that in order to prevent further reduction of aldehydes to alcohol, the catalytic mixture is poisoned by addition of sulfur or quinine. So just to reduce the catalytic behavior, it is deactivated with quinoline or sulfur. So the reduction stops, so that the reduction stops at aldehydic stage. Okay, see here acyl chlorides, okay, were reduced in presence of palladium catalyst to get aldehyde. Same acyl chloride can also be reduced to aldehydes by the treatment of lithium tritert butoxy aluminum hydride. Okay, this is the structure of lithium tritert butoxy aluminum hydride. Here one hydrogen is present. Okay, and this hydrogen reduces this acyl group to aldehyde group, and it is, and how it is done you can see here. This one is important for your NEET exam. Just remember this one, this what this catalyst does. Okay, see here, this hydrogen is attacking the carbonyl group. Okay, and this carbon double bond oxygen now open up to give oxygen a lone pair of electron. Okay, now this again fire back and chloride molecule leaves. That is, chloride ion is a very good leaving group. As we have learned in substitution reaction, this chloride ion is a very good leaving group. So when oxygen backfires its lone pair of electrons, this chloride leaves. Okay, so what we get is aldehyde. So now second one is from the reduction of alkyl cyanides or nitriles, to say, and esters. Okay, so first reaction is Stephan reaction. So alkyl cyanides or nitriles, when reduced with stannous chloride and HCl in absolute ether followed by hydrolysis, acidic hydrolysis, gives us aldehydes. So this one is the methyl cyanide. So it is being reduced with stannous chloride in HCl. We are getting aldimine. You just add one hydrogen, okay, carbon and nitrogen. See here, CH3 you are getting CH, and in you are getting NH. Okay, you just add one hydrogen because it is reduction. What is reduction? Reduction is the addition of hydrogen. What is oxidation? Oxidation is the removal of hydrogen. Okay, so here you are getting aldimine. How it is named aldimine? Okay, see here. Okay, if you take this one CH3 CHO, this one is aldehyde, and if you take this one, okay, NH2, this is amine. Double bond NH, this is imine. Spelling is IMINE. Imine. Okay. So here in presence of oxygen, NH is present. So that is why from aldehyde, ald is coming, and from this one imine is coming. Okay. See here, imine because of this double bond NH, and this one is aldehydic type group. This one is aldehyde. So from that one, ald is coming. Okay. So further hydrolysis will give us aldehyde. Just during hydrolysis, you add the water molecule. You just cleave here, give O, and here H2. Okay. So you are getting NH3, and here ethanol. So now we move on to reduction of alkyl cyanides from diol H. What is diol H? Diisobutyl aluminum hydride. So isobutyl group is this group. Okay, this is isobutyl group. So here you can see that this is 2 isobutyl group, diisobutyl. This one is aluminum, and because of this hydrogen it is hydride. So if you see here that you can see this molecules is like a robot type. So these are its robotic arms, and this one is its robotic head. Okay, just remember like this. This one is kind of robot. These are two fingers. Okay, this one is head is aluminium, and again two hands with two fingers and one hydrogen. Okay. So nitriles and esters can also be reduced with mild reducing agent like diisobutyl aluminum hydride, abbreviated as diol H, to imines, which after hydrolysis gives aldehydes. Okay. The reaction is normally carried out at a very low temperature. This one is main. This thing is main thing in the reaction. Okay, very low temperature. You have to maintain a very low temperature. It decreases the reactivity of the reducing agent and therefore preventing further reduction of aldehydes formed to alcohol. If you have, we have, if we had done this reaction at room temperature, then the aldehyde form will further reduce into alcohol. So to further prevent the reduction, we would be carrying out this reaction at a very negative temperature, that is very low temperature, that is minus 78 degrees Celsius. And here is one very remarkable property of this reagent diol H, that it does not attack unsaturated carbon-carbon bond. Okay, that is olefin or CC triple bond, alkynes, double bonds. It does not attack those unsaturated carbon-carbon bond. So here you see that this one is nitrile. Okay, so you are giving diol H here at negative temperature, very negative temperature. So you are ending up with an aldehyde. Okay, the reaction initially forms an imine or imine, which is then hydrolyzed by acid. Okay, here you see that this one turns to this aldehyde. This one is ester group. Okay, so what it does is simply just like the previous one. Here you can see that here it is chloride and now here it is ester. You just double H will just go and attack here. It will, the bond will shift over oxygen, then oxygen will backfire, and this OCH3 group, that is methoxy group, will leave, as it is a very good living group, giving us aldehyde. Okay, see here. Now it is, what is the reaction mechanism? Okay, this first carbonyl coordinates to aluminium like this. Then aluminium gives its hydride to the carbonyl group. Then this carbonyl double bond becomes carbonyl single bond, and again treated with, and again hydrolyzing it. So this bond will come over here and this OCH3 will leave. Okay, leaving aldehyde behind. So now from hydrocarbons. Aromatic aldehydes are prepared from aromatic hydrocarbons by the following method. First, use of chromic acid in acetic anhydride. So aromatic aldehydes are prepared when alkyl side chain in aromatic ring is oxidized using chromium trioxide and acetic anhydride. What is alkyl side chain in aromatic ring? See, if, my bad, benzene ring. Okay, if okay, now let us look at this example. Alkyl side chain in aromatic ring. So this is an aromatic ring and this portion is the alkyl side chain. This is the side chain. Okay, alkyl side chain. So when alkyl side chain in aromatic ring is oxidized using chromium trioxide and acetic anhydride, we get aromatic aldehydes. The aldehyde form immediately gets acylated with acetic anhydride. Okay, the use of acetic anhydride here is to acylate the alcohol, forming gem diacetate, and this does not get further oxidized. In the first method, we have seen that using chromium trioxide in H2SO4, if we oxidize alcohol, it would get converted to aldehyde, and further oxidation takes place to carboxylic acid. So to stop that further oxidation to carboxylic acid, here we are using acetic anhydride. That is, this reaction is done in absence of water, and here acetic anhydride traps that aldehyde in gem diacetate form, which further prevents its oxidation to carboxylic acid. Then the gem diacetate formed is isolated, means the trapped aldehyde using acetic anhydride is isolated from the reaction, and then it is hydrolyzed with aqueous acid to give corresponding aromatic aldehyde. Okay, that is, the gem diacetate is further hydrolyzed. Okay, acidic hydrolyzed to give the aromatic aldehyde. See here, the function of acetic anhydride is to prevent further oxidation of aldehyde by trapping the aldehyde form. Okay, so here is your this one toluene in presence of chromium trioxide and acetic anhydride at room temperature. So here you will get benzaldehyde. Okay, this oxidation benzaldehyde. Then benzaldehyde further is trapped by the acetic anhydride. Okay, so you are getting now benzalidine diacetate, that is a gem diacetate. Further acidic hydrolysis of this one will give you benzaldehyde, and the structure of this is like this. Here it is benzene, okay, carbon, hydrogen, here O, CO, CH3, and another molecule of OCOCH3. Okay, so how it is trapped. So here you can see that the acetate group here, acetate group, two acetate groups from acetic anhydride traps the aldehyde. So now you can see here that the two acetate group is present at the same in the same carbon atom. So it is geminal diacetate, or you can say gem diacetate. Further hydrolyzation of this gem diacetate gives you benzaldehyde. Now next we move on to Itard reaction. Alkali benzenes can also be oxidized to benzaldehyde with a solution of chromyl chloride in carbon tetrachloride or CH2, that is carbon disulfide. A brown chromium complex is formed which is hydrolyzed to give corresponding benzaldehyde. So you can see here this one is the toluene. So this one is the brown chromium complex, and this brown chromium complex is important for your NEET exam. Okay, so toluene in chromyl chloride gives you a brown chromium complex. Okay, and further hydrolyzation of this brown chromium complex will give you benzaldehyde. So now if the side chain contains group higher than CH3 group, okay, and this one is important for your JEE. So if the side chain contains group higher than CH3 group, so here you can see that it is ethyl group, not a methyl group. The end carbon atom of chain is oxidized by chromyl chloride to CHO group. So you can see here that the end carbon atom, that is the terminal carbon atom, here this one is the terminal carbon atom, and this is oxidized to aldehyde group. Now by side chain chlorination followed by hydrolysis. So side chain chlorination of toluene gives benzyl chloride, which on hydrolysis gives benzaldehyde. This is the commercial method for manufacturing of benzaldehyde. So in industries, not in industry, in general methods, okay, this one is the common method to prepare benzaldehyde. You just take toluene, just add chlorine in presence of sunlight, okay, or give any energy, that is H, not this is not thermal, okay, this is photochemical reaction, okay, you will get benzaldehyde, and further hydrolyzation of benzaldehyde, that is you hydrolyze benzaldehyde, you will get, sorry, my mistake, you will get benzyl chloride, you will get benzyl chloride, and further hydrolysis of benzyl chloride you will get benzaldehyde. Next is by Gattermann, Koch reaction. Benzene or its derivatives are converted to benzaldehyde or substituted benzaldehyde by treatment with carbon monoxide and HCl in the presence of anhydrous aluminum chloride or cuprous chloride, which acts as catalyst. You take benzene, you give carbon monoxide in presence of HCl, you give carbon monoxide and HCl in presence of anhydrous aluminum chloride or cuprous chloride, you will get benzaldehyde. Here anhydrous aluminum chloride or cuprous chloride acts as catalyst. Now from hydrocyanic acid. So aldehydes can be prepared from hydrocyanic acid, that is HCl. This one is hydrocyanic acid. A treatment with Grignard reagent. So what is Grignard reagent? RMgX. Here R can be alkyl or aryl. Subsequent hydrolysis of the intermediate gives us, subsequent hydrolysis of the intermediate gives us aldehyde. So here you can see that this one RMgX, magnesium is electropositive, okay, and it has a valency of 2 plus. This halide is negative. So now to fulfill, means to balance the charge, this alkyl group must bear a negative charge. That is, here you can see that magnesium has two positive charge. One is compensated by halide group and another will be now compensated by alkyl group. So the charge of this Grignard reagent is balanced. So what it does is, this R with its negative charge will attack this carbon atom, and this carbon triple bond nitrogen will be reduced to carbon double bond nitrogen, and this nitrogen will now bear a negative charge which will take a proton from the solvent molecule. So now we are getting this intermediate. Further hydrolysis will give us aldehyde. You have to just give here one oxygen and here you give H2 and here one oxygen. Okay, see here. First you take two molecules of water, okay, H2O, two molecules of H2O. H, just leave it, that's all, okay. You just leave it, we just give like this, okay. H2 and here OH. And you can think that another one H, this H is taken by this nitrogen. Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. This R minus, okay, attacks here, and this nitrogen becomes negative charge. Now this nitrogen goes and attacks over magnesium. So now nitrogen is bonded with magnesium halide. So further hydrolysis will give us aldehyde, okay. So now aldehydes except formaldehyde, that is HCHO, can also be prepared by the treatment of alkyl formate with Grignard reagent, followed by subsequent hydrolysis. So this is the Grignard reagent RNGX, this is the alkyl formate. So here negative charge, this will go and attack over here, this oxygen carbon double bond will become carbon single bond, the oxygen will bear a now negative charge, this oxygen will backfire its negative charge and this OR will leave, that is alkoxy group will leave. Now you can see that here that this one is alkyl formate, O negative charge will now coordinate with magnesium halide, okay. Further treatment hydrolysis, you will get hemiacetal. Now hemiacetal, this one OH, okay, OH, this one goes over here and this one leaves, okay. So you are getting aldehyde, okay. So what it does, Grignard reagent attacks the electronegative atom, now bears a negative charge, here nitrogen and here oxygen. Those electronegative atoms coordinates with the magnesium to give an intermediate. Further hydrolysis of that intermediate will give you aldehyde. Then from Riemann-Tiemann reaction. So Riemann-Tiemann reaction involves phenolic aldehydes. Okay, you can achieve phenolic aldehydes here. Phenolic aldehydes are obtained by treating phenol with chloroform in aqueous sodium hydroxide solution at about 343 Kelvin. So you take a phenol, treat it with chloroform in presence of aqueous NaOH, you will get one intermediate. This one will give you this phenoxide aldehyde, and further subsequent hydrolysis will give you an phenolic aldehyde. Here it is salicylaldehyde. This one is important for your NEET exam. Just remember, you take phenolic aldehyde, okay, take phenolic aldehyde, treat it with chloroform in aqueous sodium hydroxide solution, you will get one intermediate, and further this will give you this ion, that is phenoxide, sodium phenoxide aldehyde, and further hydrolysis will give you salicylaldehyde, that is phenolic aldehyde. Now preparation of ketones. So from acid chlorides. So first we will be using dialkyl cadmium as the catalyst. So acid chlorides are converted into ketones with the treatment of dialkyl cadmium. The dialkyl cadmium is prepared by the reaction between Grignard reagent and anhydrous cadmium chloride. So you take Grignard reagent here, RmGx, and anhydrous cadmium chloride, okay, in dry ether. It is very important that the reaction must be free from water, as Grignard reagents are very reactive towards water. Grignard reagent reacts with water to give you alkanes. Okay, why it is so? Grignard reagents have negative charge in their alkyl part, so that negative charge takes up proton from water to give you alkanes. So if it is not anhydrous, then your Grignard reagent will get destroyed. Okay, so Grignard reagent and cadmium and anhydrous cadmium chloride in dry ether, it will give you R2CD. Okay, that is dialkyl cadmium. Here R is alkyl, so dialkyl cadmium. What it does is simple substitution reaction. Okay, leaves chloride leaves. Okay, so here you can see that RCOCl. Now we are taking acid chloride and dialkyl cadmium we just prepared using anhydrous cadmium chloride and Grignard reagent. You just treat it with acid chloride. So this R minus, okay, see this one is cadmium, this one is R, and this one is R. Cadmium is electropositive, so 2 plus cadmium. So this alkyl group must bear a negative charge to balance the overall charge of the molecule. So this R goes and attacks here, this one goes over here, negative charge then backfires, and this leaves fluoride molecule. We are getting ketone. Okay, and then this chloride molecule will be taken up by this cadmium. We will get this CdCl2. Okay, so two molecules of acyl chloride will react with one molecule of dialkyl cadmium to give us two molecules of ketone and one molecule of cadmium chloride. So here you can see that this one acetyl chloride. Here we are using diethyl cadmium. We are getting butanol, two molecules of butanol and cadmium chloride. Similarly, we can use here dibenzyl cadmium. Okay, so we'll be ending up with 1-phenyl propanol. Okay, we can alter this one also. Okay, if we use benzoyl chloride, okay, and just simple here dimethyl cadmium. Sorry, here you will be not sorry CH2CO. Okay, phenyl benzene, then CH2COCl. Just okay, CH2Cl. If we use this one, we'll end up with 1-phenyl propanol. Okay, same, you just have to alter this one. Okay, here CH3CO. Okay, here means in place of CH3 we are just substituting this alkyl group, we are just interchanging these alkyl groups. Okay, hence we are just interchanging this methyl group with benzyl group. Just interchange this one, we will get the same product. Okay, so now Grignard reagent, here why we have used cadmium chloride, means why you have used this dialkyl cadmium, why not simply Grignard? Because both of them have the same ions. See here, RMgX. Okay, here RMgX, and in dialkyl cadmium R2CD. This R comes directly from Grignard only. So why we have not used Grignard reagent here? Only Grignard reagent. Why we have to convert? Why you have to use dialkyl cadmium? We have to take anhydrous cadmium chloride along with Grignard reagent, then the alkyl from Grignard reagent will shift to cadmium and then it will do the reaction. Why it is so? It is simple because the ketone formed would further react with Grignard reagent to give a tertiary alcohol. So Grignard reagent is a strong reagent. Okay, so what Grignard reagent is does, it reacts further with the ketone to give us tertiary alcohol. So Grignard reagent cannot be used in place of dialkyl cadmium. Okay, see here acetyl chloride, this CH3MgBr, it will go and attack. Okay, I'm telling you in this short, I'm not going into the mechanism part. Okay, so this CH3 will attack and chloride will leave. Okay, so you are getting propanol. Now again, there are many molecules of Grignard reagent present in the reaction mixture. So this Grignard reagent will further go and attack this carbonyl carbon and this will open up, and now it will bear one, and now it will coordinate with MgBr. Okay, so now here this is the situation, COMgBr. Okay, CH3 CH3 and CH3. Previously there was one leaving group chloride, so this bond would backfire and then the leaving group leaves. Okay, O minus, that is OMgBr, it would backfire, this bond backfire and chloride leaves. But here since no living group is present, all the groups are CH3 groups. So what it will do is it will simply just gets hydrolyzed to this tertiary alcohol. So if we use Grignard reagent, we cannot stop at carbonyl stage. It will further get reduced to tertiary alcohol. Okay. So on the other hand, dialkyl cadmium is weaker than Grignard reagent and it has no tendency to react with ketones. So you see that dialkyl cadmium is a milder reagent. So it will not react further with ketones. So we can stop the reaction at carbonyl stage. Now we have used cadmium as reagent. Now we will use lithium dialkyl cuprates, also known as Gilman's reagent. This one is important for your NEET and JEE main. Okay. So organocuprates. Why it is termed as organo? Because this part, dialkyl part, is organic. So it is organic organocuprates. So organocuprates, also known as lithium dialkyl cuprates, can be used for making ketones from acyl chloride. Gilman reagent is less reactive than Grignard because the alkyl groups are connected to copper rather than magnesium. Similarly, like dialkyl cadmium, these dialkyl cuprates are also less reactive than Grignard. Why it is less reactive? Because the alkyl groups are bonded to copper rather than magnesium. This makes their carbanionic character less pronounced since the carbon copper bond is less polarized than carbon magnesium bond. That is, the electropositivity of magnesium is more as compared to copper. So what it will do is, since electropositivity of magnesium is more, so the electronegativity difference of carbon and magnesium will be large as compared to electronegativity difference of carbon and copper. So in Grignard reagent, the carb in Grignard reagent, that is in RMgX, okay, the alkyl part has high density of negative charge, whereas in Gilman's reagents, that is R2CuLi, okay, this alkyl part has much lesser electron density. Okay. Grignard reagents alkyl group has much higher density, so it will simply just go and attack, that is, it is strong, whereas in Gilman reagent the alkyl group has much less electron density compared to Grignard, so it it is a milder reagent. Okay, so it is less reactive than Grignard reagent. Okay, so here is the reaction. So acyl chloride, this one is the Gilman reagent, R2CuLi. You treat it, you do hydrolysis, acidic hydrolysis, you will end up with ketone. Okay, so this is the mechanism. Here R2CuLi, it will just go and attacks at the carbon, it will just open up. Now oxygen will bear a negative charge and it will backfire and chloride will leave as it is a good living group. Okay, so we are ending up with here a ketone. Okay, now this ketone can no longer be attacked by Gilman reagent as it is a milder reagent. It is less reactive than Grignard. Okay. Now you can see here why lithium is used. Okay. See here, this R minus bears a negative charge, this R minus bears a negative charge, and this copper has a positive charge. So to balance this one, lithium ion comes and helps copper balance the charge. See, this one is a very crude. Okay, this one is a very crude explanation. As you are studying in 11 and 12 standards, so this is enough for you guys. But actually, the case is quite a bit complex here. Okay, so you have to further go into details, and this is out of the scope of your syllabus. Okay, so this one is a very crude example I'm giving you just to balance the charge lithium is coming. Okay, so now from nitriles. Okay, so both aliphatic and aromatic ketones can be prepared by treating an alkyl or aryl nitrile. See here, an alkyl or aryl nitrile will subsequent with suitable Grignard reagent followed by acidic hydrolysis. So this R prime, okay, this can be alkyl or aryl. Okay, and here this R will go and just attack carbon, as you have seen in the aldehyde. You have seen in hydrocyanic acid, when hydrocyanic acid reacts with Grignard reagent, you are getting only aldehyde. Okay, that is only formaldehyde. Here you can check. I'll show you. See, here's only hydrocyanic acid, you are getting aldehyde. Okay, here the variation depends on R. You can take anything as R, then you will get different kinds of aldehyde. But you see here the catch is this one is hydrocyanic acid, and this nitrile contains a hydrogen group, so you are getting aldehyde group. Okay, but here in this case, this hydrogen is replaced by alkyl or aryl. See, alkyl or aryl nitrile. Okay, this hydrogen group is replaced by alkyl or aryl group, so now you cannot get any aldehyde, rather you will end up with ketone. So if you change this R prime and this R, okay, R prime of nitrile and R of magnesium Grignard reagent, you will get different kinds of ketone. So see here again, this will go and react and you will get imine salt, same as that of hydrocyanic acid, and further acidic hydrolysis will give you ketone. Okay, so see here, ethyl nitrile and phenyl magnesium bromide. So you will get this imine salt, and further hydrolysis will give you 1-phenyl propanol. Okay, see here, this one is the phenyl part, aromatic nitrile, and this is alkyl magnesium bromide. Okay, you are getting acetophenol. You can use cyclohexane in this part, and here you are getting methyl, ethyl magnesium chloride. You are getting this one. Here now you are changing this one. First it was phenyl aromatic, second this one was cyclohexyl, that is alicyclic, and now you are taking just alkyl, and now here taking this one aromatic Grignard reagent. So now you are ending up with this one. Okay. So see, if hydrocyanic acid is used, then you will get only aldehyde. Okay, but if you use any other nitrile, that is RCN here, if R is not equals to hydrogen, that is R not equals to hydrogen, then you will get ketone. Okay, now from benzene or substituted benzene by Friedel-Crafts reaction. It is a very important name reaction. Okay, so aromatic ketones can be prepared by Friedel-Crafts acylation or benzolation by treating aromatic hydrocarbons with acid chlorides in presence of a Lewis acid like anhydrous AlCl3. Okay. It is a typical example of electrophilic substitution reaction. So here you see that you have taken benzene here. Okay, benzene. and treat it with acyl chloride, aromatic acyl chloride. Okay, you can take means you take just aromatic hydrocarbon here, that is benzene here is a aromatic hydrocarbon. You treat it with acyl chloride. This part, okay, this may be alkyl or aryl here. Okay, Ar represents aryl, here R represents alkyl. Okay, this may be aryl or alkyl, and you treat it with anhydrous Lewis acid. Okay, anhydrous is important, anhydrous Lewis acid, then you will end up with ketone. Okay, see here, for example, you take benzene and ethanoyl chloride and hydrous LCl3, you will get methylphenyl ketone, that is here acetophenol. Similarly, you take benzene, here you have taken an alkyl group, now we are taking here one aromatic group, that is phenyl group, that is benzoyl chloride. Okay. Treat it with anhydrous aluminum chloride, you will get benzophenol. Now, an important Friedel-Crafts reaction. Okay, we are taking here this one benzene and acyl chloride. Okay, now we can replace this acyl chloride. Okay, you just replace this alkyl part, aryl or alkyl part of this acyl chloride with another chloride molecule. So we are now taking carbonyl chloride, and that is phosgene, and just keeping other reaction conditions same. Okay, we have to take excess benzene, so carbonyl chloride, that is phosgene, with excess benzene and treat it with anhydrous aluminum chloride, you will get same benzophenol. Okay, here you are using benzoyl chloride, but here you can use phosgene in excess of benzene, you will get same benzophenol. Same, this one is a example of Friedel-Crafts reaction only. You have just altered the acyl chloride with phosgene. Okay. So similarly, you can take a substituted benzene here, same conditions, phosgene and anhydrous aluminum chloride, you will get substituted benzophenol. So here now I'd like to check you this one, that here this acyl chloride. Okay, now if you give here Gilman reagent, this one, you will get ketone. If you reduce it, you will get alcohol. Treating it with ester, you will give acetic anhydride. If you treat it with alcohol, you will get ester. If you hydrolyze this one, you will get carboxylic acid, and if you treat it with ammonia, you will get amide. That is just facility of acid chloride group. Okay, so now here I end this one, this topic, preparation of aldehydes and ketones. Okay, so if you have any queries related to this portion, that is preparation of aldehydes and ketones, so let me know in the comments below, so I can interact with you guys better. If you have any queries or problems related to this one, you can tell me. I will try to solve as much as possible. So please go through it, go through all of the contents, and if you can come up with something else, some more examples, then it should be better. And if you come up with some more problems, I'm here ready to help you. So please go through it and check and clear your doubts. Okay, thank you.